Hello and welcome back to another vlog. My name's Maddie. It's been quite a while since I did my last vlog, probably like a month now, so I'm going to catch you guys up on what I've been up to. I've been crocheting quite a bit. I had a market that I went to and I'll do another update on that in a new video, but for now I'll just sort of show you everything that I've made. A lot of it's sold at the market, so if I don't have it still, I will put up a photo of it because I did take photos of pretty much everything before I did the market. So to start with, I made the Fidget caterpillar pattern, the mini one by AllFromJade, and I used the Patti's plush from Patti and Bango's place. The next thing I made was a baby octopus. I call it an ice cream octopus because of the tentacles. This is a free pattern by AllFromJade, and this is in the Zaddy Craft chenille. And the thing about this one is my idea was to make a bunch of ice cream octopus, and this was meant to be vanilla, and then I just didn't make any others, so he was by himself. The next thing I made was a stingray. I'll have to put a photo up, and that is the Theresa's crochet shop pattern, and I can't remember what yarn I used for that one. I made 3 mushroom pop fidgets. They pop up and they pop down, and a lot of people were sort of asking me how they work. That's them. I love these. I made 3 of them. I also made a bunny lovey, and I've been making pretty much, I think, 5 or more of these where I've made the blanket part and I just haven't made the animal body, so I've got a lot of them as whips, but I finished the bunny one. I'm too lazy to go and grab it from my room, so I'll just put a photo of it here. Then I made quite a few of the birds by HaruCrochets, and this is a little duck. I love this guy. I also made the mallard duck. I made a crow, and I also changed the pattern to sort of color change to be a rainbow lorikeet. Really took me quite a lot of brain power, so I think next time I'll just stick to a pattern that I have of a rainbow lorikeet that's sort of similar but a bit different. Here, that one is. I made another one of the AllFromJade octopus. You've already seen the orange one I've made, so I made this one in one sitting really easily. I really like this pattern. And then I made a whole bunch of dumplings, again a pattern by AllFromJade. I made this one first and I don't like how uneven the smile is, but it's fine. So I made some more and I like them quite a bit more. They're very cute. Then I also made some bao. That's also the AllFromJade. It's the Asian food pattern pack, I think. So again, made a bit of a bigger one, and then 2 of the smaller plush ones. They're quite cute. I also made a leggy froggy because I just like these guys. I can't really market prep them. I feel like I make one and then I'm done, and so I always just sort of have one when I do a market. And then I made some bunny peeps. I made one in yellow, pink, and purple. I sold the pink one. These are really cute. Made these for Easter, although Easter is this weekend and I still have these 2, so I don't really know what to do with them. I'll just keep them around. So again, these are just all the things that I made since the last vlog, and now I really sort of got to work. I was thinking I did not have enough stock for a market, and I like panicked and made a whole bunch of stuff. Then I got to the market and I actually, turns out I have way too much stuff and I couldn't fit it all on my table. So whoops. I also made a whole bunch of chickens because I love making chickens. I had all the bodies done. I just needed to stuff them and add like the eyes, the beak, and the comb. We've got the black chicken. I made a yellow and orange chicken, a green chicken, a blue chicken, and a pink and red chicken. I had 8 total, so that's 5. And I think the 3 that sold was the brown chicken, the white chicken, and the Stardew Valley chicken. When people see those chickens, I love the reactions. Like, people get so happy and so excited. And there was one small child that saw the Stardew Valley one. I don't even think she knew that it was Stardew Valley, but she was just like screaming at how happy she was about this chicken. And when the parent walked off, he also looked happy. So that made me feel good. So after I did that market, I decided to sign up to the Oz Feline Fair. I was kind of like, okay, now I need to make a whole lot of cats. So I've started on that. I've made one of this style. A bit hard to see because it's a black kitty, but really cute. The embroidery on this one took me forever. And then I've been making a lot of the classic Loaf cats. So this is the Loaf Cat pattern, and it's in a sparkly lighter weight yarn, so it's quite small. But then I made another one, and this one was meant to be like Oliver from Oliver and Company. And I also made a mint chocolate chip one, which I really like. I really like mint chocolate chip ice cream. But the thing is, these color changes actually took me so long. And these work up much quicker than I thought they did. When I timed myself, I was quite quick at making them, but I don't know if I want to do the color change ones. And then I also got the pattern that is smaller, so the kittens and the mini kittens. So this is the kitten, it's just in a bigger weight yarn. This is the Zaddy Craft Chenille, so it works up to be about the same size as the Loaf cats. Like pretty much the same size, just different yarn. And I've started making some kitties. So this is a grey mini kitty and a white mini kitty. I'm going to be making a lot more cats, so you will see more of these. I'll probably make a video about like how many cats I can make in a day or a week or whatever. It's in like 2 weeks. I don't know how many more cats I can make by then. I'll probably destroy my hands, but I want to have as many as possible because it's a really expensive event. It's a 2-day event as well, so yeah, I need to make it worth it, and I'm sort of worried it won't be. As for the mushroom hat, I am making progress with that. I did the scary thing and I finally started working on the under ruffle, which is the purple. I was quite scared because I figured I was going to do it wrong, but it's actually like once you're doing it, it's a lot simpler than I thought, so I'm quite proud of that. And I joined the Facebook group for this pattern designer where I essentially stalked all the people that have made this to answer the questions that I had because I wasn't sure if it was one strand of yarn or two, and it does say one, but for some reason I was just overthinking it, and I was like, maybe it's two, because in the beginning it says it's a double-stranded pattern, but it ended up being one. Chronic overthinker over here, so I'm working on that, but it's taking a while because I keep making mistakes that are my fault. And just in case you're wondering sort of how big it is, that's it folded in half. I also sort of put off working on it because I got to the edge and I was like, oh cool, I'm gonna need wire soon, and then I tore my house apart from top to bottom everywhere I could think of because I knew I bought wire for this project and I couldn't find it anywhere. I searched my house like 4 times. It was getting to the point that it was actually driving me insane because I was like, I'm not buying more. I know for a fact I've already bought this. And eventually I searched again and it was in a Woolworths grocery bag in the bottom shelf of my hallway cupboard where I just shoved everything to get stuff out of the way because apparently I just put things in bags and then that's tidy, and then I hide it somewhere where I can't see it, and then my brain forgets that it exists. So I'm glad I found it. But that sort of put a halt on the project until I could actually find the wire because I was so stubborn and I refused to buy more. And because I knew for a fact, I was like, if I go out and buy more wire, I'm going to find the wire that I already have. And that's not happening. We're not wasting money like that. So here is the tapestry that I've started. If you watched the last vlog, you might remember that I bought some patterns because I've never done tapestry crochet before, and I'm quite proud of how it's turning out. I watched a video on how to change the colors and I'm pretty proud of how it's looking so far. Obviously it's curling, but that'll be fixed once I block it at the end. I obviously got about halfway through and then I got bored, and it's not so much that I got bored, it's because I was market prepping, and now I am prepping again for a cat specific market, so there's no need for me to be working on a snake tapestry. But once I've sort of got things under control again with niches, I'll do that because I'm keen to do these tapestries. I've got a bunch of other work in progresses, but they're sort of scattered everywhere. So I figure it's probably better if I just mostly show you things that I've completed and fully made, but I do like to show works in progress just because, you know, we're competing with Temu resellers over here, and I don't want anyone to think, oh, I never see the projects being worked on, I only see the end result. I make everything myself. Guarantee you that. I do plan on sort of having more clips in my vlogs of me actually crocheting, but when I'm crocheting, I'm in goblin mode. Like, I don't want to be on camera, and especially because, like, I have resting bitch face already as it is. When I'm on camera and I'm, like, hyper focusing on a crochet project, it gets, like, 20 times worse. So it's not exactly, like, super aesthetic content. But maybe you want to see that. Maybe you want to see me looking like a bitch. I don't know. Let me know. And picking up from the last vlog, I am safe from Cyclone Alfred, but it did ruin my annual leave completely because it didn't do what it was meant to do. I think in the last vlog, I was like, oh, you know, it's meant to hit on this day and then it'll be raining afterwards. He took his time. He was several days late, and then the cyclone went on for like 2 or 3 days. And then afterwards there was flooding. So it took up half of my annual leave, and it was exhausting because I didn't get like any sleep during all of it because it kept changing. Like the situation kept changing. And so I would go to bed and then wake up like 2 hours later and it would be 3 a.m. and I'd turn my phone on and listen to the radio, but I had to preserve all my batteries, and it was just really stressful, you know, fight or flight pretty much for a week and a half, and just destroyed my nervous system. And I was already trying to chill out and relax, and that was what the annual leave was meant to be for, so that sort of ruined it. And then I went back to work and I felt like garbage, but at least I was safe from a cyclone. One of the good things about Cyclone Alfred was I was thinking about how, okay, if I'm not going to have power for potentially like quite a while and my batteries and stuff die, what if I want to crochet? So I thought, I have a Kobo e-reader and I can put PDFs onto that. So I went on my computer, I plugged my Kobo into my computer, and then I moved all of my pattern PDFs onto my Kobo, which is like a lot. I have too many patterns, it's ridiculous. But now I can read all of the patterns that I have on my Kobo. It's amazing. And like if you have an e-reader, or I suppose if you don't have an e-reader and you don't really know how they work, they don't die like a phone does. Like my phone dies within a couple hours, but the way that their screen works, it's not like a regular screen. It's called e-ink. It's really hard to explain. If you look it up on the internet, it can explain better than I can, but it uses very little energy. So you can fully charge an e-reader and it might last like a month or longer depending on your settings, and you can have like the backlight on or off, but it'll still last quite a while even with it on. So I put them all on there and I was like, this is fantastic, because it's also not me looking at like an iPad screen. The only thing is, if a pattern isn't very printer friendly and it's got like photos, it can be a little hard to see, especially if the writing is like lighter or there's lots of graphics, just like on a e-reader screen. I've got a bit of a bigger one, but if you've got a smaller one, it just might be a bit hard to read them. All in all, fantastic idea, and I posted it on my Instagram and everyone thought I was a genius. So that's my little tip to you today. You're welcome. I've also been getting really into World War II documentaries lately, and just war documentaries in general, which is interesting because I've never shown interest in any sort of war stuff in my life. As a kid, when we would learn about history, I'm like, ugh, snooze fest, boring. But now, for definitely unrelated reasons, I have taken an interest in it. That got a little bit intense, but I definitely hyper-focused on that, and I was watching like pretty much every documentary I could find. I probably will delve back into that, but then I had my life taken over by Formula One. I don't even know why I got into Formula One. So let me try and explain from what I think happened. It wasn't recently, but a while ago, I was listening to the Jenna and Julian podcast, and they were talking about like UFC and how they're into that, and I just don't really get like people being into sports and stuff. It's not really my thing. There was sort of that in the back of my mind, sort of subconsciously, and then I think I was like looking on Netflix and I saw like new season of Formula One Drive to Survive, and I can't remember if there was something else or you know why, but I clicked on it and I was just sort of like, you know, let's see what this is about. And like 5 seconds in, I started watching from season 7 because I didn't understand what was happening, and it was like, oh, Lewis Hamilton joins Ferrari. Oh my god, it's such a big deal. I can't imagine him in red. And like, I had no idea how Formula One works. So I was like, oh my god, who cares? Like, why do we care about this? What does it matter what kind of car he's driving? Because I didn't understand how teams worked. I thought it was like the Olympics where the driver drives for their country, but no. And so I paused like a few minutes into that episode. I went on YouTube and I was like, Formula One explained for newbies, for rookies. I was like, I want to know about it, just in like full ADHD hyperfixation mode. And then I learned like everything about Formula One and the rules and whatnot. But I started watching this year's races, and the first race was in Australia, which is where I live, and it was quite an interesting race for my first one to watch. And I've been keeping up with them every week, which was a bit difficult when I was working, and like the time zones are absolutely insane. I pretty much didn't watch any of them live. I've just sort of watched them when I had time, because I also worked on those weekend days, which meant like it would get to Monday and I would catch up on all the practices and qualifying and race day. Now I'm sort of obsessed. And then I told my family about it, and now my sister is also obsessed. And then I was explaining it to my mum now that I know sort of what's going on. And she's watching Drive to Survive tonight. Only because, like, in Australia, trying to watch the actual races is like pulling teeth, because like the rights to it, to stream it, is bought by people who just don't care about giving you your money's worth. It's $25 a month for a KO subscription, which is like all sports, and you still have to watch ads. And you can't even like pick up where you left off. If you get halfway through a race and you need to pause and like exit out and come back to it the next day, if you didn't write down what time you were at, it doesn't tell you. You just start again from the beginning. The user interface is the worst, and I hate that I'm having to pay for it. To not deal with the absolute headache that is, I'm just suggesting Drive to Survive for someone like my mum, because I'm like, you have Netflix, this is really easy. It's like a Beverly Hills Housewives sort of version of it, where they dramatize everything, and you know, you don't have to sit through hours and hours and hours of each race. It'll just take the most interesting parts and sort of show you the storyline of it all. Other things I've sort of been doing besides that, I started watching Lord of the Rings for the first time, because I've never seen it. Mainly because once I got to an age where I realized I'd never seen it, and I was like, I like fantasy stuff, I told myself, oh, I'll watch the movies after I've read the books, because that'll make it more enjoyable. And I didn't do that, and so I just was like, oh, I'll watch the movies, because I was watching some YouTube channel that does like ambience videos, and the music for the Lord of the Rings one was really nice, so I was like, that sounds cozy, let's watch that. I still haven't finished the first movie, because I didn't have a good time. And I'm about to offend so many people here, but it's so cringy and cheesy. And it's also not the type of fantasy that I like. I don't really like the let's travel here and then do this thing and then travel again and then do this thing and then travel again. It was like just too much trying to squeeze into one movie, and it was all took itself very serious. I don't know, it's been a while since I watched it, but I definitely had some immediate thoughts as I was watching it, and I was like, I can't do this. Like, the amount of slow-mo shots that keep happening, and I just can't take it seriously, because it just looks cheesy to me. So I still haven't finished that. I think I got pretty much to the end, and I was like, yeah, I tap out. Especially that scene with the green lady. I also couldn't figure out for a lot of the time what was actually happening. Like, things would just sort of happen, and I'm like, what the hell was that? And then the story would just move on, and I'm like, okay. So yeah, apologies to Lord of the Rings fans. I might like the books better. I will still give them a chance, because it might just be the movies that maybe are garbage, or at least if you haven't appreciated the whole story, I don't know, I feel like it's a rose-tinted glasses thing where you need like the nostalgia goggles on, maybe. I've also been rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I have sort of dropped off from that. Like, all the things that I was watching essentially all went out the window once I picked up Formula One, because I don't have time for anything else now. And it's great to put on and crochet to, so I'm getting quite a lot done, and because it's like hours and hours of content. I also bought a walking pad recently, and I put like my iPad on the walking pad and just go for a little walk and watch some races and catch up on the Drive to Survive and whatnot. And the idea with the walking pad is I am trying to reset all of this because too much going on, so I'm like, oh, let's start with the basics, like move my body, drink water, stand out in the sun like a lizard. And I also got like melatonin gummies to try and help my sleep pattern, but I took them and then the internet told me that it might give you nightmares, and I'm like, cool, I'm pretty sure I have a nightmare disorder, so that's gonna be fun. And all of the nights that I've taken them, I've had like horrific nightmares, but they do absolutely knock me out. I take one and I start yawning immediately, so it's a bit of a catch-22. And I suppose like I can get sleep, but it's not going to be quality sleep. I don't know, might need to try it out some more. I've only taken it a couple times. But speaking of Avatar: The Last Airbender and the tapestries and stuff, I did actually make a stitch fiddle pattern for Tapestry crochet of the 4 elements because I found some, but I didn't like that they weren't even. Look, essentially if I make it, no one's going to be able to tell by looking at it that the stitches, you know, it's not perfectly a mirror image. It bothers me. So I was like, it's like the Earth Kingdom symbol, it's straight down the middle mirror image, and there's more stitches on this side than there is on that side. I don't like it, so I just made my own. So I suppose I'll put a picture of that in here, and I am tempted to release it as like a free pattern, maybe on Coffee or something. I really only have like the stitch fiddle for it, so I don't really know how to write like a pattern for it or anything. I know I have like Tapestry crochet patterns. I could probably look at them and get some ideas just because I want it to be available for people to make it. But the problem is I made it and then I realized I don't have those colors available. The yarn that I use doesn't have all of the colors needed. I think I picked like Red Heart Super Saver, which I don't have access to. So I don't know when I'm ever going to make that, unless I make it with less colors, and even then it's kind of gonna look weird, right? So that might be a thing on my to-do list at some point. Another show that I started watching is Schitt's Creek. It's not exactly funny, right? Like it's not like haha funny. It's not like Brooklyn Nine-Nine where I like put my back out because I laugh so hard. But there was one joke that I've seen, like in what I've seen so far, I don't think I've even finished season 1, but the girl who's dating the vet, because I've worked in animal care for like 10 years, my humor with animals is like really broken and quite like dark humor as well. So when she goes, oh, you're gonna want to put that bunny down, and he goes, what, why? She's just in for a vet check. I laughed so hard I had to pause because I started crying. More recently, I have watched Adolescence on Netflix, and I didn't really know what that was about when I went into it. I realized, I was like, oh, this is shot in one take, and I thought that was really cool because I had just watched, I think it's called 1917, which is the one-shot documentary-ish. It's a movie about the First World War that's filmed in a way that it looks like it's shot in one continuous take, but it's not. Whereas Adolescence actually is shot in one take, which is absolutely phenomenal. The way the story moves, it just really impressed me, especially when the camera just randomly turns into a drone and takes off. I'm like, how the hell did they do that? And so it was really interesting to look up sort of how that all worked. But the substance of the story is there as well, and the last episode made me cry like a goddamn baby. Another craft that I have been sort of getting into lately has been latch hooking. Here is the rug that I'm working on so far. Basically, I've had my eyes on these for a while. It's by a craft club. The kits are quite expensive. It comes with everything you need, but I sort of could never really justify it. And then they had this big sale for their birthday, and I was like, okay, now's my chance. I will try that out. And I also got some kits for my sister and my mum so we can have like a craft day together, but I also got myself my own one that I could work on, and I've been working on this while watching Formula One mostly, but I can't do it for too long or I hurt my neck because it's not quite ergonomic to work on. It is looking quite groovy, if I do say so myself, and the technique is really easy. I just had to watch a YouTube video on how to do it because I couldn't quite understand where I was going wrong, but I've figured it out now. And the cool thing about this is actually a skill that translates into crochet. I already have a latch hook, but I didn't really know how to use it and I couldn't remember what I bought it for. But now I remember it was because someone had a video once on how you can use a latch hook to add like hair to amigurumi. This just seems like a much easier technique than physically like sewing on hair or however you tie it on, whereas this, it's just like, you know, you loop it through and it's done. So that's a potential thing I can do to plushies in the future, but probably not because I think manually putting hair on plushies sounds like my actual nightmare. So now I make a cool rug that looks like grass. The idea is that it's like a half size, so you put it in front of a mirror and then it looks like a full rug, but I don't think I'll do that. I kind of want to put it near my front door as like a floor mat, but I also worry that it'll get ruined really quickly. And also I have a long hair cat that likes to throw up hairballs every now and then, and rather than throwing them up somewhere really convenient like on the tiles, he will choose a bath mat, a regular sort of doormat, or the carpet, just somewhere nice and comfortable for his feet so he can throw up all over it. I'm a bit worried that he will throw up on this, and I don't know how I'm meant to clean this, so we'll see about that. But I don't want to make it and then not have it anywhere and just hidden away. I also don't know if I mentioned it before, but the vegan market that I did recently was actually my first market of the year, so that's done and dusted. I sort of didn't want to do one earlier just because I was trying to build up stock, and also I feel like the beginning of the year is quite slow sales wise as well, so I just wanted to give myself a bit of time to get stock back up, and also it's quite a bit of effort to do a market, especially when you're working full-time. Just wanted to sort of give myself some time to recover. I also don't know if I mentioned earlier, I got a new vlog camera. I don't know if you can tell. I got my little microphone that I'm holding. I do have a thing that it can hold here, but I feel like it doesn't sound as nice when I've done that. I will have to play around with it still, but it's quite fancy. I still have to work out how it works, especially with all the settings that it's got, because it's got heaps. And I did try and use it properly for the first time when I was filming how my market went, but I got too shy to actually film properly, so there's not a lot of content for that, so I likely will sit down soon and actually sort of do a before and after clip and then show the content that I did get. But for the most part, I didn't really actually get into it a whole lot on that actual day, especially because I was struggling to get things done on time. I was prepping up until the very last minute, because I always do that, because I never learn. I have had a few parcels as well that are crochet related, so let's go through those now. Probably one of the more functional items is I got like a pregnancy pillow, because I see everyone sort of uses those for crocheting to support like around the front. And basically the reason I bought this was because my elbow has been really sore lately, like this one, and I already have like the really soft version of the armrest that you can get for this chair, but they're still not soft enough. I have really sensitive elbows, and this, I broke it a few years ago, so I think this one is temperamental now. And it would get to the point I couldn't even rest it without it hurting. It still kind of hurts. I tried to ice it, but I don't know if you've ever tried to ice an elbow. Incredibly difficult, because it's not really got a whole lot of surface area unless you're like laying it flat, and then that just feels really awkward to try and ice. This is sort of my solution to that, and also it's just going to be useful in general because that's sort of going to hold and support my weight. This should hopefully help with the ergonomics of crocheting, so I'm not in as much pain, because apparently lately crochet is just so much pain for me. I also ran out of stuffing recently, so I got 2 whole kilos of stuffing. Usually I just get 1 kilo at a time, and that lasts me for quite a while, but I sort of have plans to make quite a lot of things, so I want to make sure that I definitely have enough to sort of keep me rolling for a while. And since I was already shopping at Spotlight, I decided to get some yarn. So this is the blankie in white, and I do have a WIP because I lost yarn chicken, and now I can finish that, but that's a project from ages ago. This is more so I can make cats with, because I ran out of white yarn in the Zaddy Craft chenille. Even though I bought as much of it as I did as the other colours, apparently I've just been using it for quite a lot of projects, so I've completely run out. I don't know if this will work alongside Zaddy Craft chenille. It's probably a little bit too big, but I can definitely make plain white cats with this, and probably also chickens too, let's be real. And then I came across a yarn that is new that I hadn't seen anywhere else before, and I haven't seen anyone talk about it. So if you're not aware, Spotlight came out with a new valuable blankie rainbow, and it is 300 grams. It's essentially the same blankie yarn but in variegated colours. So I got this one to make cats with because I think it's just the perfect sort of cat colour. And I got some other colours as well. So this one is quite cute. It's this pastel-y sort of vibe. I don't really know what I'm going to make with that one. And I also got this colorway as well. Again, don't know what I'm going to make with this. I just got the ones that I thought looked the most like I would make something with them. This one definitely will be making cats with. And lastly, I got some things from AliExpress. So I got these floral stems, I think they're called. I have bought these before, but they were really short. And then I tried to make like crochet flowers with them, but they just didn't seem quite right. So I got the longer ones, and I think these will be a lot more the vibe. So I plan to make some flowers at some point, just whenever I sort of feel like it. I don't really know why I ordered these. But what I did need to get was more stitch markers, because apparently I ran out, which is crazy. I think I have like 100 stitch markers the last time I bought them, which is this many. This is how many WIPs I apparently have to have not, because I haven't lost any. They haven't gone missing. They're just in projects. So if you're wondering how many WIPs I have, probably like 100. And I needed the stitch markers to continue working on the mushroom hat because it needs me to put a stitch marker like every 3 seconds, and I didn't want to continue on with that and then lose my place and not know what I was doing, so now that's not a problem. And lastly, I just got some, what do you call these? Safety pins, but the round ones, because I have regular safety pins and I tried to use those to put pricing on my plushies at markets, but the string didn't really hang well. Just wasn't really a vibe because of the way a safety pin is, but I'm thinking because it's got the rounded edge, it should work a bit better just that way. I'm not having to tie a string on my plushies. If I have one of those pins going straight through a tag, I can sort of take it off and put it back on for markets, or if I want to take them off to do content and take photos, I can. Speaking of taking photos, I am putting off taking product photos because I forgot how much I hate it. I would love to add all of the stock that I have onto my website or my Etsy, but I just don't really have anywhere nice that I can take photos, and I sort of had the energy to do it the other day, and then I took a photo and the safety eyes of the plushie reflected like everything in my entire house and outside, and I was like, how do people do this? So I'm gonna have to come up with something, because I do want it to be that when I'm, you know, not at a market, I put stuff up online for people who might not live locally who would like to buy something from me. And so if there was anything in this video that I've made that you're interested in, yell at me in the comments, because it will get me to get a hurry on to actually figure something out, because it's possible, but I just don't want to. Lastly, I'm not going to talk about it too much in this vlog because it's already a long vlog as it is, but I will be making a whole other separate vlog on it, or a video talking about how I quit my job. I did that, I don't know, I put my 2 weeks in pretty much not long after I came back from the annual leave. I just went back to work, and yeah, it was, I'll talk about it, I'll let you know, but I am sort of going all in on my business right now. That's just the plan at the moment. Will it sort of stay that way? I don't know, but for now, this is what makes me happy. This is what gives me energy and makes me excited, and I don't have the energy to be applying for jobs right now either. Like, even if I sort of need a job or I want a job, the whole process is just a lot, and right now I am just trying to reset my nervous system and relax and take it easy and give myself a break, because I tried to do that with my annual leave, take a break, it didn't work. They sent me a cyclone and I was like, okay, cool, that didn't help at all. In fact, that made it so much worse. So now I'm actually taking a break because I didn't have any leave left. I just sort of quit my job. But I'll make a whole video on that for you guys to see. For now, I will be probably low-key panicking. Hopefully that means more content, and I'm also going to be streaming on Twitch again. I'm gonna try and do that maybe every weekday. I don't know. The issue is my computer is absolutely horrible. It's really old and I haven't really taken care of it properly either. It's a gaming PC that I bought and built back when I was like really poor, so I just sort of shoved a whole bunch of parts together that were as cheap but as good as I could get, and it took me like 2 years to buy all the parts for it. So by the time I built it, it was already pretty garbage, and it's many years later, so I probably need to upgrade and get a new one. But the idea of transferring all of my data and downloading all the apps onto a new one makes me want to claw my eyes out, so I'm putting it off for as long as I can. But that also means that I randomly get a blue screen every now and then, and it just crashes constantly. So I don't know how well it's going to handle streaming on Twitch. But I'm going to try, because I find Twitch really fun, and that was sort of what got my business some momentum when I was sort of shouting into the void and couldn't really find my space in the crochet community, and Twitch just really opened that up for me. And I think it was, you know, on my social media, I'm not really great at posting, I just hate it, and you don't see a whole lot of me there either, but on Twitch it was a lot of me interacting and putting my face out there, and apparently I'm likable, which is crazy to me. But same with YouTube, I think, and that's also why I'm sort of trying to do this, is because I just find this so much better than Instagram or TikTok. I don't even do TikTok. I don't know how it works. Like, I'm the older Gen Z where I quite missed out on that TikTok era, and now I'm too scared. So that's sort of where I'm at right now. Quite a lot of things happened. My bad. I will try and vlog more often. My computer just turned itself off. And it's getting dark now, so I'm going to go, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you for hanging out. I hope you liked the vlog. If you do, consider liking the video and subscribing to see me again in the future, because that helps me. Thank you. Bye.